Hello everyone, my name is Payal Singh. Welcome you again to my Hindu law class. Today's topic is sources of Hindu law. So the sources of Hindu law are broadly classified into two groups. These are ancient sources and modern sources. Under these ancient sources, we will discuss about 5 sources. These are Shruti, number 2 Smriti, number 3 digests and commentaries, number 4 custom, number 5 king's edicts. So these are the most important ancient sources of Hindu law. And in modern sources we will study about principle of justice and equity and good conscience, number 2 judicial precedents, and the third one is legislations. So in this video we will only discuss about the ancient sources only, and in the next video we will discuss about the modern sources, because otherwise the video will be very lengthy. So let's start with the ancient sources. The first one is Shruti. Shruti literally means that which has been heard, जो सुना गया है. The word is derived from the root Sanskrit root shru. Shru means to hear, sunna. And from this shru, the word Shruti is derived, which means which has been heard. In theory, it is a primary and paramount source of Hindu law and is believed to be the language of the divine revelation through the sages, that is Rishis and Munis. It is believed that Rishis and Munis had reached the height of spirituality where they were revealed the knowledge of Vedas. Actually, Shruti is composed in the time period of prehistorical time period, where people did not know how to write. They did not know how to use the paper. So what the sages did was they conveyed their divine knowledge which they got from the meditations and all these. They conveyed their knowledges to their disciples verbally or orally, and what their disciples did was they also conveyed to their disciples. By this way, this Shruti is spread all over the India. And in the modern time we get the composed and in the very written form. The example of Shruti is 4 Vedas which we know: the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Shama Veda, Atharva Veda, along with their Brahmanas. So the Vedas are actually Shruti. That means the Vedas are initially not written, it was only heard and spread to others. Now you will ask me, what are Brahmanas? Brahmanas are the appendixes which were added later on to the Vedas. Some more explanations or something more which was added later on. Vedas contains voice of God, the divine communication. Vedas are the sources of all knowledge, thus known as primary sources of Hindu law. Vedas primarily contains theory about sacrifice, rituals and customs. You know, whenever we practice or worship our God, we sometimes tell about some sacrifices also. So what type of sacrifice is actually done in the Hindu community or Hindu religion? These things are given in the Vedas, are discussed in the Vedas. What should be the rituals and what should be the customs, all these things. It depicts life of early ancestors, their way of life, their way of thinking, their customs. But rule of law was not in systematic manner. We can't say that Veda was the law book of that time. We can't say it. This is like some stories about our early ancestor, about their lifestyle, about their thought process, about their rituals and customs, etc. So it is not in a systematic manner which we have in this time, that we have some systematic laws and acts, statutes, etc. Vedas refer to certain rights and duties, form of marriage, requirement of son, exclusion of women from inheritance and partition. But these are not clear-cut laws, but were general stories. As I said earlier, these are the stories, story types. From these stories, we can get some knowledge about the duties and rights of the son. What are the importance of marriages? What were the importance of marriages at that time period? Why the son was required in a family? What were the rights of inheritance and partition of women? These things we can get from the Vedas. The next source of Hindu law is Smriti. Smriti means what has been remembered, जो याद रखा गया है. It is based on the memory of sages. Sages के जो memory था उसके ऊपर बेस करके बना था. The Smritis are also of two types. Number one is Dharma Sutras. In English it is called early Smritis. And the second one is Dharma Shastras, that is latter Smritis. The early Smriti is composed during 800 to 200 before Christ. Generally, before Christ is counted backward. That's why 800 to 200 Christ के time period में Dharma Sutras are written or composed, you can say. It was written mostly on prose form. It was training manuals of sages for teaching students. Authors include Gautam Buddha, Harita and Vasishtha, etc. So these are the authors of Dharma Sutras. And the next one is Dharma Shastras, that is latter Smriti. It is clarity on Dharma Sutras. It is lot more systematic and clear. So we can say that Dharma Sutras are not that systematic and clear as Dharma Shastra. These are the more explanative. This is the clarity of Dharma Shastra. Dharma Shastras are divided into three parts: Achar, Vyavahar and Prayashchit. So what are Achara? Theories of religious observance. Achara tells us how will we follow our religion, how to follow the religion. From Achar we can observe how to follow our Hindu religion. Then it comes Vyavahar. It means civil law. What should be our civil conduct in the society? And Prayashchita is the penance or expiation, or you can say what will be the punishment. How will you overcome your sins? कैसे हमें अपने पाप से मुक्ति मिलेगी. So these three types of knowledge we can get from the Dharma Shastras. Early Smritis deals only Achara and Prayashchitra, and latter Smriti, that is Dharma Shastra, also deal with these three things, that is Achar, Vyavahar and Prayashchitra. Vyavahar is a new thing which were added in the latter Smriti. Out of many Dharma Shastras, three are most important. These are Manusmriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti and Narad Smriti. Manusmriti is the most important of all. It is composed in the 200 BC before Christ. According to Manusmriti, king is the divine, rule of force, Pra-Brahman, and hers on women and Sudras. From the Manusmriti we get so many knowledge about the king, who should be the king, what should be the qualities of king, what are the duties and functions of kings, and what are the rights of kings. These things we can get from Manusmriti. But one thing I must say, that the Manusmriti was pro-Brahman and hers on women and Sudras. They did not give any right to the Sudras and women. Even in same crime, the Brahman got less punishments, but the Sudras were harshly punished. For example, if Shudra marries Brahman woman, then death is the only punishment. Okay, this type of things were happen in that time period. Next one is Yajnavalkya Smriti. It was composed in the beginning of Christian era, and it was composed in the Mithila, northern Bihar. The third one is Narad Smriti. It was composed in 200 AD, Anno Domini. It belongs to Nepal. It is well preserved and it is complete text is available. The Manusmriti and Yajnavalkya Smriti, we don't get the composed and preserved form of written things, but Narad Smriti, in case of Narad Smriti, it is well preserved and the complete text is also available. It is logical and precise. It confers right on women to hold and inherit the property. So we can say there are some leniency about women's in the Narad Smriti. The next third sources of Hindu law is commentaries and digests. In an ever advancing society with the new social challenges, legal rules also changed accordingly. Because one Smriti was different from another, and sometimes in same Smriti there was conflicting texts. Thus, need arose to further analysis. These there were composed from 700 to 1700 AD. Till 12th century, general tendency was to write commentaries. Commentaries is called Tika in Hindi. So commentaries on particular Smriti, but from 12th century onwards, the trend was to write digest, that is Nibandh, on several Smritis. There are some example of commentaries and digest are, if you talk about commentary and digest of Manusmriti is Manubhashya, and Yajnavalkya Smriti ke commentary is Mitakshara. These are the actually more and further explanation which one needed time to time for more interpretations actually of those Smritis. And the next source is custom. Custom is a very broad topic. We will discuss in the next videos about customs, their type of customs, and what are the essential points of essential elements of valid customs in later on. But one thing I just want to say in this video, that custom is very important source of Hindu law, as Hindu law is called customary law. That means that custom, usage and practices are given validity in these laws. So these Hindu law and Muslim law, these family laws are also called customary laws. And the last ancient sources is King's Edicts. King's Edict means the written documents or records of the cases which were dealt in the ancient time period in the King's Court. राजा के राजसभा में जो केसेस हैंडल होते थे, वो सारे केसेस के जो रिकॉर्ड्स एंड डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं, these are the King's Edicts. These also help in legislations of the Hindu laws and to determine the customs and usages in Hindu law. So that's all for the day. We will discuss detailedly in the subsequent videos. So for further studies. So till then, be safe and healthy. Thank you for listening.